Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of the viewers from around the world. Today it's Diwali in India, so my Diwali wishes for all of you. Happy Diwali to you all. This is your host Vaibhav. For today's session of JForex Indicators Explained, I will be explaining to you the concept, the uses, the properties, the customization options related to the indicator named Stochastic. And in the background, you might be hearing some firecracker noise, and that is going to go on for most of the session. So occasionally, you will hear these burst of firecrackers as it is Diwali in India. Now, let us head to the J4X4 platform, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. Here, this is the chart drawn on the time frame of hourly candle period. And on the bottom side here, as you can see, I have added the stochastic indicator with the default parameters, the percent K and percent D parameters are defined for 3 combination with the simple moving average being used for the calculation purpose. The stochastic is pardon me, fairly easy to understand. It simply takes into consideration the recent closing price to the average range over the given calculation period. So we compare the high and the low with the recent close price. So whatever difference, then we take out the ratio and we see in respect to the high and low difference where the exact close has happened, the recent close has happened, and using that price action data we get to see how far the moving, whether it is moving towards the high, whether it is moving towards the low, or it is simply straddling in between these two price ranges defined using the recent high and the low. So this indicator takes into the price dynamic data and then tries to give us the idea of the momentum. If it is bullish, then we will have these two output, the percent K output being higher than percent D output. And if we have the momentum on the side, then we will have the percent K value lower than the percent D. And at the same time, we also have to pay attention to the absolute values of these two output parameters, percent K and the percent D output needs to be below 50 for the momentum to be considered bearish, and it needs to be above 50 for the momentum considered truly bullish. Of course, if you are betting on the reversal from extreme values, then you can also consider these overbought and oversold scenarios. So we define 80 and the price above 80 as to be overbought, and if we have the output below 20 or equal to 20, then that is considered oversold. So any sort of reversal is likely to give us some retracement from these extreme valuations. So we also go for these two levels and try to go for scalping opportunities therein. All right. So now, as I explained to you, the concept is simple to understand, and here there are some of the ways in which we can try to utilize these indicators. I would suggest that rather than purely relying on the signal generated by these indicators, it is much better for us to pair it with some other indicator like RSI or MACD to get the stabilizing factor, as this indicator is known to react quite fast to the recent price data as its calculation is based on a very low time frame. But of course, even that setting can be changed. But as per the default setup, the recent price data is given more weight in this indicator, and with that we will have these fluctuations as and when the price changes happen, significant price changes happen in recent hours in these instrument of your choice. For us, the Euro USD is the instrument of choice for this session. Now, as you can notice, we had this run from the lower side, but if we consider this price action data, then here when the Euro USD had reached extreme on the lower side on the stochastic, the price action didn't really reverse to the full extent from that retracement zone. It slightly went on the higher side, then again dipped, but this time around these divergence crept in, and this sort of divergence can also be exploited. Suppose if the divergence is happening where we have lower low formation on the price action, but here we have higher low formation on the stochastic indicator, then that shows that maybe the selling pressure is waning and we can expect some reversal to take place. And similar kind of divergence can also be looked into on the higher side. So here we have this divergence taking place from the higher side. Here we have lower high and then there's a higher high, but next time around this stochastic high is lower and the crossover as it takes place then sort of signals the reversal, and we get to see the euro USD starting to decline, and eventually it dips almost close to or even more than 100 pips. And in this scenario also we have seen significant gains. So rather than going for pure reversal from overbought or oversold, I would think that this divergence strategy is likely to be more profitable. But of course, nothing is perfect, and in this case, some trades are going to be profit making, some trades are going to be loss making. So you always have to figure out this sort of arrangement and try to work with the pros and while keeping the pros and cons of the indicator in mind. Now let us consider what are the customization options available with us for these indicator. So here we consider the edit indicator options. We have to define these fast percent K, slow percent K period. Along with that, we also have to define the moving average type for both of these, the slow percent K and the slow percent D. So moving average type and these calculation period plays a very important role in what kind of output we get for this indicator. And also we have to consider how we want to do the comparison in terms of the price action. Suppose if you want the recent closing price to be compared with the high and low range, you can do that. Or if you want to consider the highest close and the lowest close instead of a pure high and pure low, you can do that as well. So recent close will be compared to the and the lowest close. So we get these two different sort of options for these price dynamic data. Now coming to this moving average type, here depending on what kind of moving average you use have significant changes in terms of the output observed for this indicator. Now as I'm changing it to EMA, you will see that there is slight change in the plotting of this indicator. I will shift it slightly on the right side. So now you get to see more of this output for the indicator. So if you try out one by one all these combinations, you will see how much of an output change happens. So now we are using DEMA instead of the WMA. If you go for TEMA, which is simply the triple exponential moving average, we have a lot more smoothing. Now TRIMA, let's try out TRIMA, what happens with this. We also have KMA, and both these SMAs have been changed to KMA. So one by one we can try out all the different types of moving averages, and depending on that we will have significant deviation in the kind of output we get. Alright, let us give us a try for the HMA. So you have to observe, you have to see what kind of formation, what kind of moving average is likely to serve your purpose in a best possible manner, and accordingly then you can try out this combination in the real time on your live account. So we have this SMA now back in place. Now coming to the calculation period, what kind of range you want to consider if you are going to take the trades on last 5 calendar period worth of data, then you can do that. If you you want to extend it, if you simply want to double the time frame, you can do that as well. Let's try out the combination of 10, 6, 6, and you observe that there is going to be a lot more smoothing in terms of the rated when we are relying on this output with the combination of this stochastic. Now, instead of too frequent changes in the crossover, we have this crossover happening less frequently, and I think the stability factor is also there. And here, when we were using the combination of 533, you observe that we had this crossover thrice, but now with the combination of 1066, this crossover is happening only once, and then the change, the turnaround is happening for the Euro USD, and a similar kind of thing is being also observed on this lower side when we are using this crossover formation. So this is one interesting state, and you can, of course, try out various combination. What kind of combination is likely to work best for you? You simply will have to do the experimentation, and with that, you will come to know what kind of combination is going to serve your purpose depending on trading style. All right. So here with the combination of 20, 12, 12, there is a significant lag here. Now I think instead of enlarging this calculation pretty too much, we have to stick with the concept which gives more weightage to the recent price action data. So I think variation between 5 to 10 for this larger time frame should suffice the purpose. So I am going to restore it back original combination of 533. Okay, so here now we also try out what happens when we use the close price as the applied price for calculating the range. Now coming to the output, the side factor. Here I am going to first restore all the default settings. Then if you are happy with this color combination, you can with that, or if you simply want to get the idea of whenever the trend change is happening for two different types of color combinations, and with that you can easily read into the data. Levels, we have defined this 20 and 80 levels, and if you want to add further more levels, you can do that. For example, if you want to add 50, you can do that. Color combination can also be kept as per your requirement. So this kind of sort of customization can be done. Now coming to the advanced editing options, recalculate on new candle only. If you want the output of the indicator to remain constant throughout the current calculation period, then you have to opt in for this. So this output will remain constant even though there is going to be continuous change in the closing price of the current candle. The calculation period can also be highlighted, so that makes it easier for you to remember what is the calculation period. If you want the customization to be done for the calculation parameters, you can go for the instrument customization. You can simply use it from the chart. In that case, whatever is the instrument being reflected on the chart, for that instrument, the calculation will be done for this indicator. The candle period can also be used from the chart, or if you feel like, you can fix the calculation for any particular duration of time. So we get these 15 minutes of stochastic combination even though the chart parameters are for the hourly time frame. So this sort of differentiation in settings can be done with these customization options given to us. The default setup. Now I am restoring it back. There is also going to be slight change depending on which spread side you are on, ask or bid. So you have to define this. But directionally speaking, it will be in the similar direction unless there is too much open gap in the spread of any instrument of your choice. Then coming to the display of the indicator, if you want the indicator to be available on all, you will have to opt in for this. Else, you will have to specify on which time frame the indicator should be available and only on those time frames. Now here on 5 minutes and hourly, we will have this indicator plotted, but it is not going to be there for, say, for example, 15 minutes or 4 hourly or any other time frame. So we have to specify on which time frame we want this indicator to be plotted. All right. So now I am again going to restore it back to show indicator on all the grids. All right, so that's it from my side for today's session of indicators explained. And we heard a lot of background noise because of the bursting of the crackers. So I'm sorry for that. Now, if you want to have the access for further coverage on market development, do check out the Dukascopy analytics page. We're also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too for trying out this newly released trading platform, the JForex 4. The link has also been included in the bio. So give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. So that's all from my side for today's session. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new setup, new explanation. So do come back. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye. Good night.